He purchased Acer laptop on the MIT network under the name Gary Host. The client name was registered as Ghost Laptop.
He doesn't hack JSTOR in the traditional sense of hacking. The JSTOR database was organized, so it was completely trivial to figure out how you could download all the articles in JSTOR because it was basically numbered. It was basically, / number article 444,024, then 25, then 26.
He wrote a Python script called keepgrabbing.py, which was like keep grabbing one article after another.
The next day, Ghost Laptop begins grabbing articles, but soon the computer's IP address is blocked. For Swartz, it's barely a bump in the road. He quickly reassigns his computer's IP address and keeps downloading.
Well, JSTOR and MIT take a number of steps to try to interfere with this when they notice that this is happening. And when the more modest steps don't work, then at a certain stage, JSTOR just cuts off MIT from having access to the JSTOR database. So there's this kind of cat and mouse game around getting access to the JSTOR database. Aaron ultimately, obviously, is the cat because he has more technical capability than the JSTOR database people do in defending them.
And eventually, there was an unlocked supply closet in the basement of one of the buildings. And he went, instead of going through Wi-Fi, he went down there and he just plugged his computer directly into the network and just left it there with an external hard drive downloading these articles to the...
Swartz. Swartz is replacing a hard drive. He takes it out of his backpack, leans out of frame for about 5 minutes, and then leaves.
And then they organized a stakeout where as he was biking home from MIT, these cops came out from either side of the road or something like that and started going after him.
He describes that he was pressed down and assaulted by the police. He tells me that it's unclear that they were police that were after him. He thought that someone was trying to attack him. He does tell me they beat him up. I was just devastated. The notion of any kind of criminal prosecution of anyone in our family or anything was so foreign and incomprehensible, I didn't know what to do.
Well, they execute search warrants at Aaron's house, his apartment in Cambridge, and his office at Harvard.
2 days before the arrest, the investigation had gone beyond JSTOR and the local Cambridge police. It had been taken over by the United States Secret Service. The Secret Service began investigating computer and credit card fraud in 1984, but 6 weeks after the attack on 9/11, their role expanded. President Bush used the Patriot Act to establish a network of what they called electronic crimes task forces.
The bill before me takes account of the new realities and dangers posed by modern terrorists.
According to the Secret Service, they are primarily engaged in activity with economic impact, organized criminal groups, or use of schemes involving new technology. The Secret Service turned Swartz's case over to the Boston U.S. Attorney's Office.
There was a guy in the U.S. Attorney's Office who had the title head of the Computer Crimes Division or Task Force. I don't know what else he had going, but you're certainly not much of a computer crimes prosecutor without a computer crime to prosecute. So he jumped on it, kept it for himself, didn't assign it to someone else within the office or the unit, and that's Steve Hyman.
Prosecutor Stephen Hyman has been largely out of public view since the arrest of Aaron Swartz, but he can be seen here in an episode of the television show American Greed, filmed around the time of Aaron's arrest. He is describing his previous case against the notorious hacker Alberto Gonzalez, a case that garnered Hyman enormous press attention and accolades. Gonzalez masterminded the theft of over 100 million credit card and ATM numbers, the largest such fraud in history. Here, Hyman, describing Gonzalez, gives his view on the hacker mindset.
These guys are driven by a lot of the same things that we're driven by. They have an ego, they like challenge, and of course they like money and everything you can get from money.
One of the suspects implicated in the Gonzalez case was a young hacker named Jonathan James. Believing Gonzalez's crimes would be pinned on him, James committed suicide during the investigation. In an early press release describing the government's position in the case of Aaron